The United Kingdom has participated in the Eurovision Song Contest 58 times and is one of the most successful countries to compete in the contest. They first participated in the second contest in 1957. The BBC had wanted to take part in the first contest in 1956, but had submitted their entry to the event after the deadline had passed. The UK has entered every year since 1959, and has won the contest a total of 5 times. Along with Sweden, the UK is one of only 2 countries with Eurovision victories in 4 different decades. The United Kingdom is one of the Big Five, along with France, Germany, Italy and Spain, who are automatically allowed to participate in the final as they are the 5 biggest financial contributors to the EBU. Up to and including 1998, the UK had only twice finished outside the top 10, in 1978 and 1987. With their 5 winners being Sandy Shaw with the song "Puppet on a String" in 1967, Lulu with "Boom Bang a Bang" in 1969, Brotherhood of Man with "Save Your Kisses for Me" in 1976, Bucks Fizz with "Making Your Mind Up" in 1981, and Katrina and the Waves with "Love, Shine a Light" in 1997. In addition, the UK has finished as runner-up on a record 15 occasions, including Pearl Carr and Teddy Johnson, Matt Monro, Kathy Kirkby, Cliff Richard, Mary Hopkin, The New Seekers, Scott Fitzgerald, Michael Ball, Sonia and Imani. Since 1999, the year in which the rule was abandoned that songs must be performed in one of the official languages of the country participating, the UK has had less success, only finishing within the top 10 twice. Jessica Garlick in 2002 finished joint third and Jade Ewan in 2009 finished fifth. Ewan in particular was praised after her performance of "It's My Time" for ending the run of poor results the country had suffered for much of the decade. From 2011 to 2015, the UK entry was selected internally by the BBC, resulting in the national selection process being suspended. However, this will return in 2016. The United Kingdom has finished last in 3 contests. Gemini's infamous 2003 null points result was the first time that the country had come last in the contest, something that was then repeated in 2008 with Andy Abraham, who received 14 points, and in 2010 with Josh Dubovi, who received 10 points. In 2015, the UK failed to reach the top 20 for the 7th time, with the duo Electro Velvet finishing 24th with only 5 points. The country's worst points tally since 2003. History. 1950s to 1970s. Patricia Breton was the first performer to represent the UK at Eurovision, finishing 7th in 1957. At their second attempt in the contest in 1959, the UK achieved the first of their record 15 runner-up positions, when Pearl Carr and Teddy Johnson sang "Sing, Little Birdie." The UK would achieve 4 more second-place finishes with Brian Johnson in 1960, the Allisons in 1961, Matt Monro in 1964 and Kathy Kirkby in 1965, before eventually winning for the first time in 1967. Sandy Shaw was already a successful performer, having twice topped the UK singles chart, and she comfortably won in Vienna with "Puppet on a String", which became her 3rd UK #1 and topped the charts all around Europe. In 1968, another successful performer was selected to represent the UK with the song "Congratulations". In London, Cliff Richard gave the UK their 6th second-place finish, losing to Spain's Maciel. "Congratulations" remains one of only 2 non-winning UK Eurovision songs to top the UK charts. The UK's pulling of second was provided by the Scottish singer Lulu in 1969. Another established performer, she had reached the US #1 spot with "To Sir with Love" in 1967, with the song "Boom Bang a Bang". having finished second on 3 further occasions in the 1970s, with Mary Hopkin in 1970, the New Seekers in 1972 and the Shadows in 1975. The UK achieved their third victory in 1976 with Brotherhood of Man and Save Your Kisses for Me, who won with 164 points, which would remain the highest points total for 10 years. In 1977, the UK finished second for the 10th time, represented by Lindsay DePaul and Mike Moran. 1980s and 1990s. The UK's fourth victory came in 1981, with Bucks Fizz and Making Your Mind Up. The group was created especially for the UK Selection Contest, A Song for Europe. At Eurovision in Dublin, they defeated Germany's Lena Valaitis by 4 points. The group went on to continued success, with 13 UK top 40 hits over the next 5 years. This would be the last UK win for 16 years, although the country continued to be competitive at the contest with 4 more second-place results during this time. In 1988, Scott Fitzgerald lost to Celine Dion, who was representing Switzerland, by just 1 point. In 1989, Live Report lost out to Yugoslavia by 7 points. Michael Ball in 1992 also finished second, behind Linda Martin of Ireland. The 1993 entry, Sonia, had already had 10 UK top 30 hits, including a 1989 number 1 with You'll Never Stop Me Loving You, when she was selected to represent the UK in Mill Street. With one country left to vote, Ireland's Niamh Kavanagh led Sonia by 11 points. By the time it got to the announcement of the 12 points, neither the UK or Ireland had been mentioned. If the UK had received the 12, they would have won by 1 point. In the end, Ireland received the top marks and won by 23 points. Despite only finishing 8th in the 1996 contest, Gina G went on to huge success with her entry, Ooh Ah Just a Little Bit, which became only the second non-winning UK entry to top the UK singles chart. It also reached the US top 20 and received a Grammy nomination. The UK's fifth victory finally came in 1997, when Katrina and the Waves, famous for their 1980s hit, Walking on Sunshine, comfortably won the contest with the song, Love, Shine a Light. They scored 227 points, which would remain the highest points total of the pre-semi-final era. At the 1998 contest in Birmingham, Amani achieved the UK's 15th second-place finish and 20th top 2 result, with the song, Where Are You?, losing to Israel's Dana International. The UK, as of 2015, has not finished in the top 2 since. 21st century. The UK has fared less well in the contest in the 21st century. Since girl group Precious finished 12th in 1999, the UK has failed to reach the top 10 in all but 2 of the last 17 contests. The exceptions being Jessica Garlick, who finished joint 3rd in 2002, with the song, Come Back, and Jade Ewan, who finished 5th in 2009 with the song, It's My Time, written by Andrew Lloyd Webber and Diane Warren. In 2003, the UK finished last for the first time with the duo Gemini, who received the infamous 0 points. This remains the only time the UK has failed to score a single point. The country has finished last on 2 further occasions, with Andy Abraham, who received 14 points in 2008, and Josh Dubovi, who received 10 points in 2010. In 2011, the BBC chose the boy band Blue to represent the UK. They finished 11th with 100 points. In 2012, the UK were facing calls to quit the contest when the UK entry, Engelbert Humperdinck, finished 25th with only 12 points. However, the UK confirmed their participation in the 2013 contest, with the Welsh singer Bonnie Tyler, most famous for her 1983 US and UK number 1 hit, Total Eclipse of the Heart, who would perform the song, Believe in Me. In Malmö, she finished 19th with 23 points. She went on to win 2 internationally voted Eurovision Song Contest Radio Awards for Best Female Singer and Best Song. In 2014, the BBC internally selected unknown singer Molly Smitten-Downes through BBC Introducing, which supports new and unsigned acts. She represented the UK in Copenhagen under her artist name Malloy. In the final, she performed the song "Children of the Universe," which she co-wrote with Anders Hansen, and finished in 17th place with 40 points, having been regarded as one of the favourites to win the contest. In October 2014, Guy Freeman stated that the BBC is still engaging with record companies and the BBC Introducing platform in order to find an entry for the 2015 contest via the internal selection process, but announced that in addition, for the first time since 2008, they are giving the general public the option to submit an entry for consideration. Ultimately, the entry for 2015 came through open submission, with the song "Still in Love with You" performed by the duo Electro Velvet. The song finished in 24th place, with only 5 points, the UK's worst performance in terms of points tally since the infamous 0 points of 2003. The performance was widely deplored by viewers and openly mocked on social media, with the British media putting increasing pressure on the BBC to change its selection policy for future contests. On 30 September 2015, the BBC confirmed the national selection show will return in 2016, although the exact format has not been announced. United Kingdom and the Big Four, 5. In 1999, a rule change allowed the United Kingdom, along with France, Germany and Spain, to automatically qualify for the Eurovision Song Contest final, due to being the biggest financial contributors to the EBU. Due to their untouchable status in the contest, these countries became known as the Big Four. In 2008, it was rumored that the Big Four would lose their automatic qualification, and would have to compete in the semi-finals for the first time. However, it was announced by the EBU that this would not be the case, and the 4 countries would still automatically qualify for the final of the 2009 contest without having to enter a semi-final, and this has remained as of 2015. In 2008, the BBC defended spending money from licence fee payers for the contest when Liberal Democrat MP Richard Younger Ross had tabled a Commons motion which called on the corporation to withdraw its £173,000 funding for the annual contest. That same year, former Eurovision commentator Sir Terry Wogan claimed that the show is no longer a music contest after the result was announced. Contestants. Table key winner: second place, third place, last place. Notes: Spain originally gave its 12 points to Israel and 10 to Norway. After the broadcast, it was announced that Spanish broadcaster wrongly tallied the votes and Germany should have got the top mark, 12 points, instead of being snubbed. As it happened, the mistake was corrected and so Germany was placed 7th over Norway. Israel and Norway both received 2 points less than originally, in Croatia, Malta, Portugal, United Kingdom, Netherlands, Belgium, Estonia and Turkey all received 1 point less than indicated during the broadcast. Congratulations! 50 years of the Eurovision Song Contest. Even though the United Kingdom was entered twice into Congratulations, 50 years of the Eurovision Song Contest, with Cliff Richard's 1968 runner-up entry, Congratulations, and Brotherhood of Man's 1976 winning song, Save Your Kisses for Me. The BBC decided not to participate in airing the event or taking part in the voting for the greatest Eurovision song of the past 50 years, but instead aired an hour-long special program entitled Boom Bang Bang, 50 Years of Eurovision, hosted by Terry Wogan, looking back at the best and the worst songs, fashions, contests, hosts and hostesses that have occurred at the Eurovision over the past 50 years. Table key winner: second place, third place, last place. Voting history. As of 2015, United Kingdom's voting history is as follows. Hostings: The United Kingdom has hosted the Eurovision Song Contest a record 8 times. The United Kingdom stepped in and hosted the contest for the Netherlands in 1960, France in 1963, Monaco in 1972, and Luxembourg in 1974 due to winning countries' financial and capacity issues. The BBC offered to joint host the 1996 contest in Belfast, Northern Ireland with Irish broadcaster RTE if Ireland were to win for a fourth year in a row. In 2015, London hosted Eurovision Song Contest's Greatest Hits, an event to commemorate the 60th anniversary, which was recorded for television on 31 March 2015 and will be shown in 26 countries, starting with the UK and Ireland on 3 April 2015. Eurovision Song Contest's Greatest Hits APA Awards. Commentators and spokespersons. Over the years, BBC commentary has been provided by several experienced radio and television presenters, including Tom Fleming, David Vine, David Jacobs, Dave Lee Travis, Pete Murray, John Dunn and Michael Aspel. However, Terry Wogan provided BBC TV commentary every year from 1980 to 2008. It was confirmed on 12 August 2008 that Terry Wogan would no longer present the Eurovision Song Contest for the UK. The BBC Radio 2 DJ, who had fronted the BBC's coverage for 37 years, said it was time for someone else to take over. He was replaced in 2009 by Graham Norton for the final. Norton has continued in the role ever since. The final of the contest has been broadcast by BBC One since the first contest in 1956. The first live colour transmission of the contest in the United Kingdom was the Eurovision Song Contest 1970. The first high-definition broadcast of the contest began in 2007 when the contest was simulcast on BBC HD. The final is also broadcast on radio, initially on BBC Light programme until the 1967 contest. From 1968 it was broadcast on BBC Radio 1, moving to BBC Radio 2 from the 1974 contest where it has remained ever since. Both semi-finals are broadcast on BBC Three. Between 1963 and 1976 the contest was also broadcast on BFBS Radio. In the 1998 contest, hosted in Birmingham, Terry Wogan acted as both commentator and on-stage presenter. In the 1980 contest, each song was introduced by a presenter from the national country, the United Kingdom entry being introduced by Noel Edmonds. For most contests, a spokesperson has delivered the results of the national jury, or in recent years the results of the televoting, awarding points to the entries on behalf of his or her country. The exceptions were the contests held in 1971 to 1973 when votes were cast by two jury members present at the contest venue, appearing at the end of the contest to confirm their scores. No British-born broadcaster has either presented or commentated on the live television final for over 30 years, the last being Jan Leeming in 1982. It has to be assumed that Terry Wogan's commentary was taken by BFBS in 1975 since Terry says in his BBC Radio 2 commentary, Richard Astbury sends his apologies to BFBS listeners, technical difficulties. Additionally, from 2004 to 2010, Paddy O'Connell commentated on the semi-final shows. In 2007, 2009 and 2010 he was also joined by Sarah Carwood. In 2008 he was joined by Caroline Flack. In recent years, the dual commentator format during the semi-finals has allowed for the broadcaster to incorporate additional segments, interviews and live viewer interaction during the program's live airing. In 2011, O'Connell was replaced by Scott Mills, who provided the commentary from London, while Sarah Cox provided interaction from the venue. Cox and Mills both provided commentary again in 2012 from the venue. In 2013, Cox was replaced by Anna Matronic and Matronic was replaced in 2014 by Laura Whitmore. Mel Giedroyce will replace Whitmore as co-commentator in 2015. In 2014, Matronic provided commentary for the second semi-final of the 2014 contest on BBC Radio 2 Eurovision, a temporary station which was broadcast on DAB radio over 4 days, as well as the BBC Radio 2 website. She continued this role in 2015. Separate entrance. For several years the Scottish National Party has campaigned for a place in Eurovision for Scotland but had been rejected numerous times because Scotland is represented as a part of the British entry and is represented by the BBC. On the 11th of February 2008, the EBU stated that a Scottish broadcaster could apply for EBU membership, but under the current rules could not enter the Eurovision Song Contest as the BBC currently has exclusive rights to represent the entire United Kingdom. It was announced in late May 2008 that the UK would be participating in the 2009 contest and, therefore, Scotland was not represented in 2009 as a separate entrant. Scotland could be represented by STV, ITV Border or BBC Scotland. MEP Arlen Smith has said in the European Parliament, "Other small countries have done it, entered the competition, and I will be happy to help any of the broadcasting companies through the progress." In 2011, the European Broadcasting Union stated that there was nothing to prevent Scotland from submitting its own entry, although STV stated that there were no current plans for a separate entry. If Scotland were to participate, it is unknown whether or not England, Wales and Northern Ireland would show any interest in entering the Eurovision Song Contest independently as well, although S4C has expressed an interest and, in addition, already holds a yearly national song contest called Can I Jimru. S4C also considered a bid for the Junior Eurovision Song Contest 2008 but decided not to go ahead. In 2009, MEP for Wales Gillian Evans stated her interest in securing Wales a place in the Eurovision Song Contest 2010. Wales could be represented by either BBC Cymru Wales, ITV Wales and West or S4C. There is a small campaign in Northern Ireland for a separate entrant and it could be represented by UTV or BBC Northern Ireland. There are no plans currently for England to enter separately. However, to date, these proposed changes have not occurred, and the United Kingdom still participates in the Eurovision Song Contest as a single entrant. It was unknown what would happen if Scotland were to become an independent country. However, on the 25th of November 2013, the Scottish Government released a referendum blueprint which detailed plans for the transfer of BBC Scotland into the Scottish Broadcasting Service and joining the EBU, as well as partaking in competitions, including Scottish entries in the Eurovision Song Contest. However, the referendum result on the 18th of September 2014 was to remain part of the United Kingdom, and the aforementioned BBC retains exclusive rights to represent the United Kingdom, including Scotland. Photo gallery. Ronnie Carroll at Luxembourg. Kathy Kirkby at Naples, Brotherhood of Man at The Hague, Scooch at Helsinki, Andy Abraham at Belgrade, Blut Düsseldorf, Bonnie Tyler at Malmö, Electro Velvet at Vienna.